Hi guys, welcome to this beginner's yoga class. We're going to focus on some easy postures in yoga, the basics of yoga, and I'll show you some modifications that will really help you be able to build your flexibility and your confidence and help you grow with your yoga practice. So all you're going to need is a block, and don't worry if you don't have a block, and your mat. And when you're ready, let's begin.
So let's come down onto our backs, allow the knees to be together, and your feet will be flat to the ground, resting either side of the mat. Allow your chin to be a little closer to your chest, so you're lengthening the back of the neck. And your arms will rest down by your sides, with your palms facing up to the sky for some energy. Take your time in this position to settle in. And once you're settled, shut down your eyes. And just begin to notice and feel any areas of your body that you may be holding any tension, any tightness. And start to pay attention to your breathing. So notice if you're breathing too fast. And if you are, just start to slow your breathing down. If you struggle to do that, you can take a long inhale in through the nose for 3. And a long exhale out for 4. And maybe next time you'd like to lengthen your exhale, so breathing in for 3 and exhaling out for 5. Just see how that feels. And as you exhale out next time, try to connect with your core muscles, our abdominal muscles. So as you exhale, begin to draw your navel back to your lower belly. Let your inhales come in nice and slow. And then exhale all the way, pulling your navel to your spine.
Let's take one more breath here. And let's reach the arms out just a little bit more. Start to rock the hips. So move the knees left and right. Keeping your eyes closed. Just breathe. And let's bring the knees up into a tabletop position. And then we're going to bring the arms over the head. Take a breath in and breathe out. Let's lift the legs up and down. It's nice, gentle movements. And let's lift the arms high and start to circle the wrists around. So 4 times one way and 4 times the other. Keeping the arms lifted, reach the legs high and start to circle the ankles around also. And then reverse. Now let the legs drop. Just let them rock up and down, and also flop those arms. And then let's start to rock, flop those wrists a little bit faster. If you want to do the feet together, you can. great work. Now just let's hold on to those knees and just rock the hips side to side. Now release your feet down to the ground, so bring your heels as close to your glutes as you can. Extend the arms over the head and then exhale down. So inhale, reach. Exhale, lower. This time, reach the arms over the head and lift your hips. And then lower the hips and lower the arms. Let's do that again. So reach and lift. And then lower back down. Okay, now bring those knees into a tabletop position again. We'll start to push the legs away and circle the hips around. And then reverse the other way. Okay, great work. From here, we're going to make our way up into an all-fours position. Coming into your all-fours position. Now, if you've never done yoga before, make sure you spread your fingers wide and really press the palm of the hand into the ground. Making sure that your wrists and shoulders are in line. So really lengthen through the arms. And your knees and hips are in line also. Your hips are slightly apart. Your knees are slightly apart. Draw your navel to your spine. And we're going to take 5 cat and cows. So as we inhale, the head will lift, the chest will pull forward, and the tailbone will lift. And as you exhale, you push into the shoulders, draw the navel to your spine, and round the spine. 4 more times. We've got 2 more of these. And let's come back into that neutral spine. Now I want you to walk your left hand slightly forward and just turn your head to look over the right side of the body. So this is a nice lateral stretch. Now you can reach the arm a little bit more for a deeper stretch. But you can walk your hands to the center. Now we're not going to move the hips, so just till you can feel the twist. Take 2 breaths here. And let's walk all the way back to center. This time walking your hands over to the left side. Again, just slightly forward, or taking that full twist, looking over your left shoulder. Drawing your navel to your spine. Take 2 breaths. Let's come all the way back to center. Now coming back into your all-fours position, you're going to start to circle the hips. So drop your hips over to the right and then draw your chest forward and then over to the left and then sit back on those heels. So the shoulders will come over the wrists and you're drawing a nice big circle with your hips. Breathe as you do so. So So always focus on connecting your movement with your breath. So inhale and exhale back. Coming back into your all fours position. Let's drop the hips to the left this time and all the way around. So really let your body move anyhow it can. Whatever feels good for you. Let's come back into a neutral spine and just rock those hips left to right. Lovely. This time we're going to tuck our toes and walk the hands slightly forward. So bring your palms of your hands close to the edge of the mat. Send those hips back and lift the knees. And then we're going to push the hips back and rest your chest onto your knees. So lengthen through the arms. Imagine pushing the ground away with your hands. And if you feel comfortable enough, you can release your right heel down. And then your left. And if you want to, you can release them both down. Or just keep the knees bent. Sending those hips high. Draw the shoulders away from the ears. And take an inhale, lift the toes. And exhale, drop the hips to the right. Again, taking a nice lateral stretch to the left side of the waist. So breathe some oxygen into the ribs, into the rib area. Inhale to center. High on the toes and exhale over to the left. And let's come back to center. Sending those hips back one more time, either keeping the knees bent or straightening all the way down. Just do what's in your practice. Don't rush. Just do what feels good for you today. Now look up to your hands. And we're going to walk all the way there, any way you can. And we're going to inhale to a flat back. Now, if you struggle to reach the ground in this position, you can rest your palms of your hands onto your shins, taking a nice flat back that way. Or you can use your block and just rest your hands or high onto the fingertips. Whichever feels good for you today. We'll inhale to a flat back and then we'll exhale fold. Now in your forward fold, you can keep your knees bent and rest your chest onto your knees. You're just looking for the stretch in the hamstrings. Grab hold of each elbow and let your head hang heavy. Let's do 3 breaths here. So you can either stay still or rock the head up and down. Let's take one more breath. Release the hands down to the ground. Inhale to a flat back. And exhale fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And then the hands will come down to the ground. Now, pressing the palms into the ground, bend your knees. And we're going to step back into a plank position. So, keeping the knees bent, release the right leg back, and then the left. Come high into your toes and roll all the way forward so that your shoulders and wrists are in line. Drawing your navel to your spine, spreading your fingertips wide and pushing the ground away. Squeeze the glutes. And then let's lower the knees, bend the elbows, and keep the elbows in nice and tight to the chest. Once you're there, sliver the chest all the way through so we're coming all the way down to the ground. Head will rest onto the mat. Elbows are in tight. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, lower down. Let's do that 3 more times. So inhale, baby cobra. Exhale down. On this last one, we will inhale and we'll extend the arms nice and straight. Lift the hips. Lift the knees, taking your full up dog. And to push back into a down dog, bend the knees, send the hips back, tug the toes, root your fingers wide, pressing your hands into the ground to support you, and then send those hips back. Start to walk up the heels, move the hips. Sort of notice whether your hamstrings are releasing a little bit more. You'll let go of the tension there. Let's drop the knees back down to the ground. And we're going to bring the left knee, the left foot forward. So, this is a position a lot of beginners struggle with, coming from a down dog, bringing one foot forward. So we're going to do it this way just for today. So bring the leg forward anyhow you can. Make sure that it's into the center of your mat, so in between your hands. And the back foot is going to turn outwards as we lift the leg. So the right toes are facing towards the end of the right side of the mat, sorry. And then we're going to rise up into our warrior two. So lift your left foot and really root it into the ground. And externally rotate your right knee outwards, your left knee outwards. Spread your fingers wide and really reach them forward. And make sure that your shoulders are nice and stacked, so your arms aren't in this position. I know it's hard to see when you're standing in this position, but do your best. Draw your navel to your spine again. Externally rotate that leg outwards. So if you can't do this yourself, just sort of push your leg out and then keep it there. Taking 2 breaths here. And then we're going to extend the front leg, send the hips back, and really reach that left arm forward as much as you can. And when you're there, release it down to the ground. Now, another thing people worry about as a beginner in my classes is the fact they can't touch the ground in this triangle pose. It doesn't really matter. All you need to be doing is either placing your hand onto your shin, or you can use a block. It's all about the stretch. We're not looking for flexibility, especially in a beginner's class. It comes with time, so you take your time for that to happen. So reaching down, extending your right arm high. And we're going to push the body back. So imagine that you're pushing back into a wall. Hold and breathe, 2 breaths. Elvis, we can hear you snoring. Sorry about that, my dog's snoring in the background. And then let's slowly rise back up into our warrior two. See if you can go a little bit deeper this time. And drawing that knee outwards. And we're going to gently rest the left hand onto the left knee and extend the right arm high. This is our side angle pose. Now you can keep that right arm lifted high, or you can bring it behind you and extend it forward. So making sure it's not here, it needs to be above the head. 2 breaths. Let's extend that right arm back behind us and rise back up into Warrior Two. Then straighten the front leg and let's come forward into the center of the mat. Bring the legs together and we're going to do a balanced posture here. Now this is one that beginners really struggle with. In yoga, balance is quite a challenging thing to do because it takes time to get your balance. So we're just going to do a tree pose today. So I just want to give you a little bit of an idea how you can practice and gain your confidence with your balance in this sort of posture. So we're going to root the right foot into the ground. So spread your toes, release it down. So imagine that you're connecting with that earth beneath you. And I'm going to lift the left foot, just up and down. Hands can come here, or hands can be in prayer. And then when you're ready, just rest that foot onto the ankle of the right leg and externally rotate the knee outwards again. Lifting your elbows, engage your core. And another thing with balanced posture is the focus. Now, I always focus on something in front of me. It really helps. I'm not one for closing my eyes. I like to focus and keep my eye on that one thing. And once you found your focus and your balance, see if you can draw that leg a little bit more up the knee. Let's take 2 breaths. Let's release that leg down. Just shake out the legs a little bit. And we'll do that on the other side. So lifting your left toes and releasing the foot down to the ground. Let's lift up the right leg and release it back. So you're sending all your weight into your left leg. Notice that you sort of drop to the left side as you're lifting your right leg. But try to keep that spine lifted, tummy tight at all times. And then we're going to place that foot onto the ankle of the left foot. Staying here. Hands in prayer, externally rotating that right knee outwards. So you're opening your hip. Staying here, focus, find your focus. And draw that foot up the leg once you have. You can always use your hand to bring that leg a little bit higher, because it's not really good for you to rest the foot onto the knee. It should be either higher or below the knee. Golden green. Whoa. Even as yoga teachers lose our balance. Let's release that leg down. Great work. Okay, shake out the legs. We're going to turn to face this back of the mat this time. And we're going to step the right leg forward, left leg behind. So taking our Warrior Two on the other side. So left foot is facing towards the side of the mat. Right foot is facing forward. Bend into that front knee. Push the knee outwards. So the knee is turning towards the pinky toe. Arms out nice and straight, shoulders stacked. You don't need to take a long stance like I am. Just do what's good for you or what you can manage today. And then bend into that right knee. And place your gaze forward towards your right hand. 3 breaths. extend that front leg, send the hips back, and really reach as far forward as you can, releasing the hand down to the ground, on your shin or on a block, looking up to the sky, or down, or forward. 2 breaths. And then let's rise all the way back up into Warrior Two. Place your your right hand onto your right knee. Extend your left hand high. Stay here or reach it back and forward. Now bring that left arm back behind you. Rise back up into your Warrior Two. Straighten the front leg. Walk the toes so we're facing back to the front of the mat. Your right arm will come forward. And then we're going to bend into the front knee and turn the back foot so it's facing to the top of the mat. Hands will come down to the ground. Step that left leg back so you're coming back into your high plank. Push the ground away with your hands. Bend your knees, bend your elbows. Sliver the chest between the hands, lower down with your belly. Inhale, baby cobra, or up dog. Bend the knees, send the hips back, tuck the toes, and press back into your down dog. Look up to the top of the mat, and let's walk all the way there. Inhale halfway, and exhale forward. Again in your fold, either bending the knees or keeping them straight. And then let's roll all the way up to standing. Reach your arms high. Inhale. And exhale, bring your hands to your heart. Just taking a few moments here. Just to feel grounded. Connecting back with your breath. And connecting back to where you are. We're going to take a little flow here, so let's inhale, reach the arms high. Exhale, fold it down. Hands come down to the ground, step back into your plank. Toes come high onto the toes, roll forward. Draw your navel to your spine, knees down, elbows bent, sliver the chest through. Inhale, up dog. And exhale, tuck the toes, down dog. So down dog or child's pose, whichever feels good for you right now. We're actually going to come down into a child's pose. Now with a child's pose, I notice that many people struggle to sit back on their heels. So you can either place a block and rest that under the hips and release all the way down that way. One of the ladies in my class, she really enjoys the wide leg child pose. So allow the knees to be close to the edges of the mat. The big toes will touch, and then just send the hips back that way because you've got a nice little space there. And then rest the chest down. Resting your head down to the ground or onto your chin. Again, child's pose is a great posture to do to connect back with your breath. You tend to lose focus of your breath throughout the practice of yoga, especially as a beginner because you're too busy trying to focus on getting the posture and the movement right. So use either mountain pose or child's pose or down dog to always connect back with your breath. Let's take 3 breaths. onto the top of the mat and into a seated position. So let's bring the feet so they're hip distance apart. Let's move that out of the way. We're going to rest our hands behind so our fingertips are facing towards the hips. We're just going to drop the hips to the left and then to the right. And let's drop the hips over to the right and keep them there. Then we're going to walk the hands so we're facing on the right side of the body, lifting the spine. And you can stay here and take a twist. You can come down onto your elbows. And slowly rise back up. Come back to center. And let's drop the hips over to the left this time. Taking a twist over to the left side, keeping your spine lifted. Or coming down onto your elbow. Rise all the way back up. We'll bring those legs to the center of the mat. Let's take a few little stretches here. So placing your right fingertips down to the ground, extend your left arm high, and exhale, reach over, making sure both sit bones stay grounded. And this arm is not coming forward, so reach it back, open the chest. You can rest down onto the elbow or just rest onto the fingertips. Take 2 breaths. Do that on the other side, so left fingertips down to the ground, extending your right arm high, inhale, and exhale, bend. Now again, if you are coming down onto your elbow, make sure that you keep both sit bones grounded. The hips should not be coming off the ground. 2 breaths. Let's come back to center. Great work. Let's inhale, reach your arms high. Bring the palms of the hands to touch and bring those hands down to the center of your heart. Now if you're going to stay with me for the rest of this practice, for the mindful meditation, then we will do that in a few moments. But if you're not, thank you so much for joining me today. Namaste. Now if you watched my last video, like I said, I always use a block because I find not only is it comfortable to sit on this for 5 minutes, it also makes sure that my spine stays nice and aligned. And the importance of having a nice straight spine throughout meditation is it allows the 7 chakras to align through the spine as you're meditating. So it's really important. And it's so important to make sure that the head stays nice and straight also, so you're not dropping it down. So when you're lengthening your spine, you're lengthening from the crown of your head all the way down to your sit bones. So let's rest the block under the hips and allow the hips to drop forward. So you see that my hips drop forward, my spine stays nice and long. Now again, if you feel that you can't do this position, that's totally fine. Remove the block and just rest on a small chair or with your back against the wall. We're going to make sure, like I said, your spine is lifted, your head is lifted. We're going to rest the hands on top of each other or allow the index finger and thumb to touch, and lengthen the 3 fingers and rest them down onto the knees. Shut down your eyes, lift your shoulders and draw them back. And let's begin this practice.
Now that you're comfortable, spend some time settling into your pose. Let's take 3 deep breaths in through your nose and exhale out for 5. So inhale for 3 and exhale out for 5. As you exhale out, imagine breathing out all the stress and anxiety your body contains. Go through a process of being aware of where you're holding tension in your body. And then as you become aware, actively release the tension. Feel your muscles becoming heavier and relaxed. And pay attention to your jaw, your shoulders, your back and your pelvis. Take 3 more deep breaths in through your nose and out your nose also. Then bring all your awareness just to your breath. The rhythm of the rise and fall of your chest. Begin to focus only on now. If your mind wants to wander, which it will, come back to your focus of your breathing. Your mind will bring in thoughts that want to take you out of now, out of this present moment. Don't judge this in any way. Just notice the thought and let it go. You are not trying to stop thinking. You are just not pursuing or indulging the thoughts. And gradually, you will notice spaces between your thoughts, and that's okay. You're just becoming more and more aware in a non-judgmental way. Just being in the moment with no thoughts or judgments. You are now meditating. Now start to add movement to your hands, to your fingers, and slowly open your eyes. Bringing all your awareness back into the room, and notice how you feel. Bring your hands to your heart, and thank yourself for showing up today. And thank your body for all its hard work. And thank you for joining me. Namaste.